It's been 15 months now since a tornado ripped through Goshen Township in Claremont County.
Ashley Smith visited one of the businesses that had significant damage as they returned to the office this week.
Yeah, so the Allstate Insurance building was a total loss after that EF2 tornado tore through the town. It took more than a year, but now the staff is back in the office talking about their memories from that day and trying to move on from the tragic event.
You know, when we look back, it's like, I don't know how the hell we made it out of here.
Eric Beavers and his wife Shannon Beavers are back to work at Allstate in Goshen after living through the EF2 tornado in July last year. This was Eric on July 6th, moments after the tornado hit their office, tearing the roof off and injuring Katrina Knuckles.
And unfortunately, you know, you still hear the horrible sounds of that day, like the screams and the cries. That's something I'll never get over.
Knuckles went to the bathroom to seek shelter from the tornado, while the rest of the staff went to the kitchen.
I remember her just yelling at us, run to the kitchen. And we got there as fast as we can. All we had was a wooden table, probably half the size of this, and we all crawled under the table, and it felt like 3 hours. It was probably 5 minutes.
It was like getting hit by a train when you're not on a train track. It's like, where did this come from? You think you have time, you don't. You think this will never happen to you, it could.
Once the tornado passed, Knuckles says she nearly passed out from her injuries.
I don't know who was in my head. Somebody said, Katrina, you have kids, you gotta get up, you gotta get up. And to this day, I still think that that's how I survived, just to think like, okay, you gotta get up, you gotta get up. And it just haunts me. It's hard.
Knuckles ended up in the hospital for a couple of days with internal bleeding, among other injuries. The insurance agent said they had to get back to work remotely to help other victims of the storm.
I mean, you kind of just focus on the community because they need your help. I mean, that's what you're here to do, is help people. So you kind of just push what you went through aside and you help people.
The duck that my son gave me, it's missing half a bill, but he glued it back together.
It took more than a year to renovate this office and get it back to working order for the staff to return this week. They said it helps that it looks much different compared to what it did before the storm.
Our old paint color was yellow. I was like, no yellow, please, just no yellow.
They say through this tough time, they have learned some important life lessons.
For me, it made me really step back and appreciate life.
So I asked if they ever thought about leaving that Goshen location and just moving somewhere else. And they said the way the community came together to support one another is why they wanted to come back to that very location as soon as they could. And Steve, you know, the other thing is, and you could hear it in their voices there, they really have, you know, a form of PTSD, really. Anytime there are storms now, they kind of panic. They go, they definitely pay more attention to the forecast than they ever did, and there are those lingering effects still 15 months later.
Yeah, and I like the way you did the story, because oftentimes when we cover tornadoes, we're in here, we're safe, we're just passing information on, but the people that really experience it, you've got to understand what they're going through.
Yeah, and they said their phones all went off with that really loud sound for the tornado warning, so thank goodness for, you know, those early alerts.
Without a doubt.